Right now, I have a hard task.
How are you feeling today?
Great.
Everything's good. Life is good.
I've got to convince you to commit your valuable time to a story about curb cuts and bike racks. I've got to convince you there are lessons for your city in an anomaly of a city, in the shadow of the New York skyline.
So you live in Hoboken?
Yes.
Good vibe, it's always like a lot of energy.
In Hoboken, New Jersey, 60,000 people share a single square mile. They share it on foot, on bikes, and in cars.
You do get yelled at sometimes, but...
I did almost get hit today by one of the delivery bikes.
But in Hoboken, no pedestrians have died in a car crash in more than 5 years.
I have no problem crossing the streets when I'm on my scooter.
Do you worry about cars?
No, actually, I don't.
In most places in our country, that's not the case. A decade ago, more than 30,000 Americans were dying in car crashes every year. Last year, that number cleared 40,000.
Hoboken can't expand out into the Hudson River.
Right.
Greg Francis is a transportation planner in Hoboken. Their numbers were rising too, until city leaders did something deceptively simple. They figured out the problem, and then they addressed it.
88% of crashes involving people that are walking or people that are biking were happening at our intersections.
Today, Hoboken's intersections show the solutions. On 4th and Garden, a bike rack and a plot of plants consume physical space close to street corners. When people need to cross, they don't need to peer around cars. On 10th and Washington, like most intersections, when the Don't Walk sign changes to walk, all stoplights stay red for 7 full seconds to give pedestrians the first right of way. Because of tweaks like these, crashes, injuries, and deaths are down in this city.
Unfortunately, this is somewhat unique right now.
Pam Shadle-Fisher works for the Governor's Highway Safety Association. She knows that cities are only half of the issue.
Rural fatalities account for almost half of roadway deaths in our country, but 19% of the population is in rural areas. So what does that tell you?
But it's different. In rural areas, traffic fatalities are more likely not at night, but during the day. They happen not at intersections, but because of cars coming off the road. And
the distances are so great. You know, you may be involved in a crash and the closest trauma center where you need treatment is 3 hours away.
But no matter the type of town, there are proven solutions for what works. All Hoboken did was follow them.
Making sure that crosswalks are visible, making sure that stop signs are visible. These things are very small, but they can have like a big impact in places all over the country.
It's not perfect, and it relies plenty on people. But if you've come this far,
Today the weather was super nice, so I went for a nice long walk.
you know this story isn't merely about curb cuts and bike racks.
Driving through Hoboken is pretty smooth.
It's about saving lives. And it's about the lesson they've learned in Hoboken that applies to so many issues in so many places.
Is it as simple as saying you looked at the numbers of the problem, looked at the numbers of the solutions, and that made the difference?
I think I'm proud of how we've been doing a lot of small things that collectively have had a big impact.
In Hoboken, New Jersey, I'm Matt Pearl.